This episode of the Two Droids podcast is proudly brought to you by Who Clothing.
Two droids, and no questions asked.
Hello and welcome to the Two Droids, No Questions Asked podcast, your one-stop shop for all the latest pop culture, movie, TV and comic book news. I'm today, of course, as always, joined by my ever faithful co-host, Simo. How you doing, Simo?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm pretty good as well, mate.
Pretty good. I'm a little bit tired, but, you know, we move.
Yeah, it's been a long old week, hasn't it?
It's been a long old week.
But here we are.
Here we are.
As always,
Who would have
ready
thought,
to
eh?
deliver to the people. Yeah, look at us.
Look at us. Hey.
Look at us. Well, on this week's show, Simo, we're going to be discussing, as always, the latest news and trailers of the week before diving into a review and discussion of the latest entry in the Hunger Games franchise, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
Yeah, it was a good... I remember... I'm trying to, remember the full movie in its entirety, but there's so much in there. But we're gonna go through it later on.
Yeah, we'll dive into that later on. So, should we dive into the latest news of this week?
Have you got a hot pile of steaming news this week?
Always. It's I don't know how they get it so spot on, but it's literally as we press record, I get it delivered to the desk
By Owl.
Yeah, I have to leave a window open, which is awful at this time of year because it's freezing. But an owl comes through, drops off a big pile of paper.
It's what we do.
Hot off the press.
It's what sacrifices you make for the listener, you know?
Yeah,
that's
we
what
have
like.
to.
It's what we like.
Yeah. So, you know, if you're happy that we're making these sacrifices, maybe leave a 5-star rating and a review.
Or just
do
it anyway.
That you're grateful. Yeah, do it. We dare you. Anyway, let's dive into the news.
The news.
Or, as we like to call this section, the Weekly Bugle. Now, some unfortunate news to start off this week. Unfortunately, Roger Castell, who is famous for creating iconic movie posters, the Jaws poster, the Empire Strikes Back poster, has unfortunately died at the age of 92. I mean, he's created some iconic pieces of art.
Yeah.
I mean, that Jaws poster is just instantly recognisable. Probably the most iconic movie poster ever made.
I'd agree with you on that one. Yeah, and it's been parodied so many times as well. Like, people use it as a basis for other trailers as well. If you look at the posters. Same with Empire Strikes Back. Look at that poster. I know it, like it's kind of similar to the New Hope one, where it's like the people like all based in all situated around the poster. But that is then the standard for posters since then.
Yeah,
like everyone has done.
How many floating head posters do we see?
Just every single,
especially like
one.
MCU posters. They're all
the same,
like that.
All the same. They all copy the same. Like, I don't know if he came up with that, but like, you know,
I think the Empire Strikes Back was inspired by another poster, but his take on it is definitely iconic.
Yeah. But it's sad. Always sad.
Yeah, very sad. I mean, he's had a huge impact on just pop culture. I mean, a fantastic career. Created over 1,000 images over his career.
I do think that people who create like posters for movies are overlooked quite a lot.
Massively,
I mean, we met one earlier on in the year, and actually we got a signed poster off him for Return of the Jedi. I think they do deserve more. Obviously, deserve more respect, but they just deserve to be spoken about a bit more. You know, the posters sell the movie. Like, it's such an important part.
It's one of the first things that people see before a movie comes out.
And it's what people collect from the movies.
Yeah. And you look at like that Jaws poster that we mentioned, you know, that like every tonal and like emotional beat in that movie, and like the tense scenes of the movie, the fear element, the like unsuspecting element, all of that in a poster, which looks so simple.
I was going to say,
such a good job.
I was going to say it's a very simple poster, isn't it? Like, there's not a lot going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, you know, less is sometimes more.
Yeah,
which is why we're going to finish the podcast here. That is it. Less is more. We've done the best podcast we've ever done. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, make sure to leave a rating. But obviously, rest in peace, Roger Castell.
Yeah.
A fantastic career and massive impact. Next up in the news, so flip the page, if you will. Marvel, following the ending of the actors' strike, has updated its release schedule for the next couple of years. So there's a couple of movies that have changed that they've announced. Deadpool 3 is the first one, which was due to come out on the 3rd of May 2024, but has now been pushed back to the 26th of July of the same year.
Now, you'd think it'd go the other way, wouldn't you? You'd think it'd either stay where it is or it would maybe be brought forward. But getting pushed back. Now, there's that's kind of says to me that some of the stuff that they filmed during the writers' strike might have been crap. Like, maybe not unusable, or maybe they've just changed their ideas. You know, it's Marvel. They change things all the time, and especially around the whole Kang dynasty side of things. Maybe that means that they are changing their direction a little bit. Do we know if this is for reshoots or...?
So they haven't said why. Part of me maybe thinks a little bit of ADR.
Okay.
'Cause I know with Deadpool, obviously you can't see his face when he's speaking.
Yeah.
I know Ryan Reynolds just like improvises loads of lines.
Yeah.
Like after shooting's done, that they can just drop in. But obviously he couldn't do that during the strike, so maybe there's a little bit of that involved.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, but they've sort of kept throughout the movies they've re-announced. They've kept like the same dates, but just changed them for different ones.
Okay.
So the next one is Captain America: Brave New World.
It's
Anthony Mackie's Captain America movie with Harrison Ford. So that was previously dated for the 26th of July, which is the spot Deadpool 3's now has, and has been moved back again to the 14th of February 2025.
Now, with this one, from what I have heard about the story for this, I am, and in the current world we're in, I am not surprised this has been pushed back. I don't want to talk too much about some of the characters that are being used in it. I'm not sure if are you getting to what I'm hinting at here?
Yeah.
So one of the story beats, it very insensitive at this time, and I'm hoping that is something they're changing as a part of the pushback, and just altering it slightly, because I don't think that's going to go very well for them if they release it with a certain character, not the character in it per se, but the context around the character. It's and the story beats of what I've heard sound very similar to a real world event that's going on in the world right now.
It makes sense they've pushed it back. Again, I think these things always have reshoots, but I suppose we won't tell until it comes out. The next one that they've rearranged, the Thunderbolts, so the Suicide Squad, but make it Marvel, was previously dated to come out on the 20th of December 2024, and that has moved back again to the 25th of July 2025.
Okay.
So they haven't actually started principal photography on this one, so they haven't actually started filming it yet. So I suppose we're pushing into December now. A year to get the whole thing turned around was audacious.
A year and a half as well is still going to be a push.
Yeah, they're still going to be very tight. But fingers crossed, they have to pay everyone properly now. So
yeah, that's very true.
Hopefully they can get it done. But I won't be surprised if that's pushed back even more. And then the final one they've announced is Blade, which was previously meant to come out on the 14th of Feb 2025 and is now moved to the 11th of July 2025, which again, audacious to say that they're now rewriting the whole movie.
I mean, is it going to come out? Is it actually going to be a thing?
I mean, I hope it does.
Yeah, it's just whether or not it actually does come out. I mean, I'm not... I'm very apprehensive about this movie, if I'm being honest. Just everything surrounding it.
Development hell.
It just sounds a mess. Just sounds an absolute mess.
Yeah, I mean, we covered it a bit the other week, didn't we?
Yeah.
That they've gone through like 4 different scripts now. Like they're just firing through writers, firing through directors.
Yeah.
You've got cast members threatening to walk away. It just seems to be stuck.
It seems like such an easy thing for them to make as well. Like, just make a cool superhero vampire movie. Like, that sounds cool. I mean, I guess Morbius kind of fucked it up already, but like,
Yeah.
I mean,
But
sorry, that was the best movie I've ever seen in my entire life. But like,
I think
come on.
this is an even easier premise than Morbius, though, because this is literally just a vampire hunter.
Yeah,
You don't even
Yeah,
need to touch on the superhero element of it. You don't really need to go into that a huge amount. Just make a cool Van Helsing movie.
yeah, literally. Like the one with Wolverine.
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman, there we go. The one with Hugh Jackman.
The Hugh Jackman
Oh, actually,
Van Helsing movie. I like
I
it.
take it back. My favourite Van Helsing in the entire world is from Young Dracula on BBC. Can you remember that movie? That TV show, sorry. Can you remember that?
Yeah, I can remember Young Dracula. Oh, that's a core memory you've unlocked there. I'd forgotten
That
about
was
that one.
I just remembering how incredible that used to be. That was
Yeah,
that
I
was
think-
like, I remember when they did, like, they brought it back for a bit, and it was like,
Yeah.
and I remember that bit. That was like our Endgame. That was
Yeah.
that was like the
'Cause
BBC's
I think
Endgame.
they only did I think they did one season in 2005,
Yeah.
and then they brought it back in 2011
I remember it being
with
darker
the same
as well.
cast but grown up.
Yeah, I remember it being a bit dark.
It was a classic. I loved Young Dracula. Bring it back.
Bring it back.
Yeah, none of this reboot nonsense either. I want the original cast.
Yeah, I want them playing the same roles as well. So like, I want them still in school. I want to see Dracula going. I want Dracula just randomly appearing in the middle of his son's school in all black, and no one says anything about it.
No, nothing. Oh,
That was incredible.
What a show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's sort of all the movies that Marvel have announced that are moving around. I think a lot of this is still up for change.
Yeah.
I think, especially the later ones pushing into 2025, will change.
Just take your time and make it better.
However, Kevin Feige previously said, "Oh yeah, we're going away from quantity and back towards quality." But at the minute, with these new announcements, Captain America, Thunderbolts, and Blade are all coming out in 2025.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like a move away from quantity.
Although
to me.
I guess, like, can you remember like the early days of the MCU when it was like you'd get a movie at the start of the year, then you'd get a movie in the middle of the year, and then you'd get one at the end. So maybe, and they were good movies, so it could work.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose so, and I hope it works. But the jury's still out on that one.
Yeah.
We will have to see. However, elsewhere in the news this week, still a bit of Marvel news, but apparently we have some Fantastic Four casting news. So rumours started surfacing this week that a certain actor is circling the role of Reed Richards in Marvel's upcoming Fantastic Four movie. That actor being maybe the most father actor of all time, Pedro Pascal.
Daddy.
So, now apparently Pedro Pascal has been offered a contract and is ready to sign on to join the MCU. However, there's still a couple of roadblocks. The biggest one being his just really, really busy schedule. So over the next 2 years, he's planning to star in Gladiator 2, The Last of Us Season 2, and a movie called Weapons. And I'm not sure where he's going to find time in here to also be Reed Richards.
Whoa. You're forgetting one thing, though. He's a single dad. He'll make time. They always do, They always power through and make the time for everything. And he's a single dad and everything.
He will find a way. There's a lot of funny commentary on it about, like, Pedro Pascal when he reads the Fantastic Four script. And it's that he has to get an orphaned child with special abilities to a safe location.
Okay, so how are they going to do this one? Because, like, he has a wife and he has his kids. Like, they're all alive.
Yeah.
Like, in the comics. Like, how is he going to work in a functioning family? Maybe that's going to be the interesting part of the movie. It's going to be Reed Richards struggling with being in a functioning family.
Yeah. I suppose we're going to have to see.
Yeah.
But allegedly, the role's also been offered to other people. Adam Driver was a big one that apparently passed on it. Matt Smith apparently passed on it. And in this same round, Christopher Abbott and Jamie Dornan both tested for the role. But at time of recording, it looks like it's going to Pedro Pascal.
I would like that a lot. I'd actually really like that.
See, I think he'll be great. But Pedro Pascal's 49.
Yeah, but Reed Richards
This
is quite he's normally like quite a well-established and mature character anyway. So
yeah, but is Pedro Pascal, because realistically, this isn't coming out for at least 2, if not 3 years.
Yeah.
So he's going to be into his 50s. Is Pedro Pascal going to want to be squeezing himself into spandex at the age of 60 to do a Fantastic Four movie? Money, I suppose,
like,
yeah.
He is
Money
definitely
is
one of
the
those
big
actors that genuinely will take stuff for money, because he's been in that mobile game ad that isn't the game that you download, doing an advert
true.
for that. And I'm pretty sure when people went, "Why did you do that?" He's like, "Money." Like, so,
Money, yeah. Financial reasons. I mean, we'll have to see. My other thing is that comic book Reed Richards is not a nice guy. He's like a bit of an arsehole. And I just worry that Pedro Pascal's maybe too nice. I mean, obviously he is an actor.
Yeah, I mean, he could act. He could act in a way that he isn't very nice. I reckon he could. I reckon he's got the ability to do that.
It's his natural charisma that worries me.
I really
because
like
again,
him.
Reed Richards is not a charismatic guy, like at all. But Pedro Pascal just sort of gives off a natural charisma.
I'm just thinking now.
There's a reason he's the one always tasked with transporting kids to safe destinations. You know,
I suppose
because he's the nice guy.
Yeah, but he's a bit nasty in The Last of Us, but then he turns nice, and then I'm just thinking then. I was trying to think of movies where he's like meant to be a bad guy, and like in The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, he's like meant to be a bad guy, but then all of a sudden he's really, really nice. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're onto something. Yeah.
Kingsman 2 is a villain, but again, he's that like sympathetic villain.
Into the villain
who's
in
really charismatic.
Wonder Woman as well.
Oh, the one that no one saw.
I'm going to say I haven't seen it, if I'm being honest. But like, I'm pretty sure he is.
I think we're part of the general consensus that no one saw that movie.
We run a comic book movie podcast, and we haven't seen one of the biggest comic... Well, not one of the biggest, but, a big comic book movie release in recent years.
The follow-up to one of the biggest comic book movies ever, because Wonder Woman was huge. It made like $1 billion, but...
Yeah. I watched the first one.
Not so much.
But yeah.
So yeah, we'll have to see on this one. There's been some negative feedback on it on Twitter, mainly because he's a Latin actor.
Okay.
So obviously you've got the typical lot that we mentioned that are now kicking off that
losers.
Reed Richards is Reed Richards is a white man, and this guy's Latinx, and just get a life. I mean, what does it matter really? Right,
I'm kind of gonna. It kind of moves into one of my points on my hot take later on, so I'm going to leave that a little bit. But it doesn't really matter. Like it doesn't matter. Like if you like your Reed Richards to be a white man from America, read your comics or watch the old movies. If Pedro Pascal becomes Reed Richards, like you can still have that. You can still have that person. Yeah. It's fine. It's still there. It's not cultural appropriation because he's not fucking real.
No. These are made up characters.
Yeah, it's literally, he's not real.
You're getting very upset in the real world, which just a bit embarrassing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we'll move away from the negative stuff because I think this is mainly positive. There's been some other rumours of the last couple of months. Apparently Vanessa Kirby and Joseph Quinn are already signed on to play Sue and Johnny Storm, respectively. And another sort of thing that broke this week, apparently Javier Bardem is the first choice to play Galactus. However, no sort of contract or no official offer has currently been made.
Wait.
But I think that's great casting.
Are you telling me we're not just going to get a massive cloud? we're gonna get an actual Galactus. It's not just going to be
real Galactus.
Cloud.
Yeah. Stop the clocks.
I really like the idea of Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm. To be fair, I think that'd be quite good.
Yeah, I think
it's quite a smart move as well because, like, since Stranger Things, like, people absolutely love him. So that seems like a smart move. He's still a very young actor. Yeah. That can be smart.
My tattoo artist has a tattoo of Eddie from Stranger Things on her leg.
Nice. Does it look good, or is it one of those ones where it's like the face is a bit weird?
To be fair, to say she did it herself, it's pretty good.
Is it shit?
No, it is. It's good.
She's not going to listen to the podcast. You can say.
Oh, she might.
Tell me
she
it's
might be
shit.
listening.
Tell me it's shit.
No, it is. It is genuinely a good tattoo.
Well, I'm happy for
So yeah,
it.
I agree. I think
Yeah.
he's very much in the zeitgeist. Isn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah, exactly.
And he's a good actor. I think he could do the cockiness of Johnny Storm well.
Is there any rumours for The Thing?
None as of yet,
Okay.
but I might have a hot take on that later. So if you're listening, casting directors, just listen to what I've got to say, because I might be cooking.
And we require a
anyway.
little fee for that as well, for Ryan's ideas, donation to the podcast.
Yeah, you got to grease the palms a little bit,
Yeah.
especially when it makes $1 billion because of me. I'll settle for 10% of revenue.
You'll get
I'm not asking
Zuckerberged,
for a
I'm
lot.
telling you. You'll get Zuckerberged.
Yeah. Or no, I'll be like the other guy in that story.
Oh, there's another guy?
Exactly. Yeah. Eduardo something.
Wait, who was he played by in the movie? 'Cause, yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, Zuckerberg. As in, like, you're going to take away the one that Andrew Garfield played.
Yeah. I thought you meant I would be the Zuckerberg.
No,
And I
you'll
somehow
get
end up the
Zuckerberg.
owner of Disney. I mean, I'm available for that also. But anyway, elsewhere in the news, again, still on the Marvel vibe. Maybe that Variety article was right that Marvel are in the mud because they just can't stop with their headlines recently. But the director of Avengers Kang Dynasty, Destin Daniel Cretton, has stepped away from the project.
Ooh, okay.
Again, this makes me think that we're just never going to see this movie. However, he's not been fired. He's not been sacked. He's still part of the MCU. He's just stepped away from the Avengers movie to focus on other Marvel projects. So the news is reporting that the split is amicable, and he remains on board to direct 2 episodes of Wonder Man, in which he's also serving as executive producer.
Okay.
A few questions about Wonder Man, because that's apparently going to sit under the Marvel Spotlight banner. So is that in the MCU? Is it not in the MCU? I suppose we'll have to see. And he's also signed on to direct the planned sequel to Shang-Chi.
That hasn't got a date yet, has it? I swear that hasn't got...
No.
Not a lot's come from that. Right,
No.
I've got something here. Like, we're talking about, like, Avengers and stuff like that. And obviously we spoke earlier about Fantastic Four, and we spoke about, like, Deadpool. I really think that the MCU, a very wise decision for them, I think, would be to step away from the Avengers a little bit. Like, we've had the Avengers, we've had the ones that we liked. People aren't going to be happy with whoever they replace them with. And especially if
it's always going to be an issue.
looking at some of the rumours of people that might be replacing certain Avengers, it's just the same character but played by someone different.
Or in
well,
some
it's a different
cases,
iteration.
If rumours are to believe,
Yeah,
it's the same character played by the same person.
Yeah, and like I feel like it'd be so much better just to see, like, and at the moment in universe, the Avengers seem to be scattered and not knowing what's going on and not very organised. So how good would it be for the Fantastic Four to come in and be, or the X-Men, and be like, we'll fill that void in universe and also in real life. It makes sense. And it would revitalise the MCU a little bit. We would get new stories that aren't following on from the same things that we've been going for over 10 years. People will get bored of the same thing. Like, so I kind of want...
I do agree with you.
I want a bit of a... yeah. I mean, I will always watch the Avengers movies. I really liked them.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
It might help the bit of, fatigue that people have got at the moment. Because they're just going to see the Avengers and just go, well, all right.
Yeah.
So,
And I think as well, like you said, you're always going to have people that are making comparisons to, RDJ and Chris Evans and, the rest of the OGs, in that maybe just mitigate that altogether and just shelf it for a little
obviously
bit.
do whatever you want, like that. It's your company, but come on.
Yeah.
And general audiences
now,
will probably watch it
until
anyway,
I come in and take over.
Oh yeah, because we've already established that you're going to be the Justin Timberlake in this story, and you're going to take over.
Yeah, it'll be mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Kevin and Bob Iger. Again, this I've spoken about it on previous episodes. This, for me, also just makes me think this movie's not happening. They've not announced a new director. They've not given any sort of time frame as to when they're going to announce a new director. I think Kang Dynasty's in the pan, to be honest with you.
From this finale of Loki, it could go two ways with the way that ended, didn't it? It looks like they've kind of done it in a very clever way where they can go, oh no, they solved all the problem with the Kangs. Or they can go, oh no, he started the problem with the Kangs.
Yeah.
So
yeah. They can wait see what happens on the trial.
On the trial, and then
then make the decision. So again, it's still all up in the air. But if I was a betting man, I would put money on never seeing this movie materialise. Now, we'll move away from the MCU and we'll move towards another studio that's just
in the mud.
An absolute shithouse. Which is Warner Brothers. Warner Bros. Made headlines the other week when they announced that their live-action animation hybrid movie, Coyote versus Acme. Is that how you say that, Acme? I've never figured that out.
I don't. Is it, I think it is. Yeah, I think it is.
We'll rock with it.
ACME.
So the Coyote versus, right? Yeah. It could be clearer. No wonder they've binned it. So they announced that. Well, technically, yes. So Warner Brothers announced that their live-action / animation hybrid movie, Coyote versus Acme, was not going to be released. So they've filmed it, they've animated it, they've done all the post-production, all the editing, ready to go, and then they've done a Batgirl, and they've said, actually, if we release movies, there's a chance they might not make money.
Yeah,
So to mitigate that risk, they've written it off as a tax write-off, and we're not going to release it. Now, this has caused a lot of backlash.
Not surprised.
Online. So, people have come out and said, like we've done, that you're just doing another Batgirl. If you never release a movie, you're also not going to make any money. And so basically they've reversed that decision. So they've said, well, we're not going to release it. We don't want the risk. But the director, Dave Green, can now go to other distributors and listen to offers. So Amazon are currently the favourites to purchase the rights and release it. That makes me think if they do buy it, it'll go straight to cinema. Straight to streaming, sorry. But I was excited for this. John Cena's in this movie. I was really excited to see it.
I really hope that this goes to cinemas. And, the internet crazes for, like, Barbenheimer, the Minions, stuff like that. I hope they band together using the internet powers of just banded together on random memes.
Just memes.
Yeah, and I hope that they create an army so strong that this becomes one of the highest grossing movies of all time. And I hope that Warner Brothers somehow get fuck all for it. Like, really, I think that would just be brilliant. Like, I want it to be an Oscar hit. I want it to win all the awards. I want everything to go to this movie. And then
John Cena for best actor.
Yes, and then I just want Warner Brothers just to be sat there, and I want them to pan to like everyone from Warner Brothers during the Oscar ceremony, and then I want them to use a cartoon. Wah, 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 wah.
Oh, that would be brilliant.
And then, like, I don't know, like, they can have, like, Coyote, like, on the screen, hold up, like, a sign, and, like, just with something on there, like, dumb idiots or something.
Yeah.
Like,
or, like, Peter Safran holds up a sign that says, like, uh-oh, or something. James Gunn's eyes are, like, popping out of the skull. Like. Not only that, can we finish up this little fantasy that John Cena goes up to the stage? He's been announced as the winner of the best actor in a motion picture for the Oscar, picks up the golden statue, and then he just extends his palm in front of the world. You can't see me!
Which would be really weird, because we'd all be watching it, and we'd be like, would have been nice for John Cena to tip up for his fucking Oscar, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Honestly. It's gone to his head. But, it still wouldn't be the most controversial moment on an Oscars stage involving someone's hand.
No. You keep my wife's name. That'll be all happening. But you keep my production's name out your goddamn mouth.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. But yeah, I mean, all the screenings of this movie and everything else is really positive. People are saying it's like it could be what Space Jam was.
Yeah, or the original generation. It could be.
Not Space Jam.
I've not seen it. Not seen it. Not another thing that was there for IP reasons.
I tried to watch it. Because I love the original Space Jam.
It's so good.
I got 10 minutes in and turned it off. I couldn't do it. It was dreadful. I've
just come up with an idea for something. I don't know if this will. Just let me know if this would work.
Okay.
So
I'll let you cook.
We're talking about Coyote, yeah. versus Roadrunner.
Mm.
Yeah, is the traditional way of doing it.
Yeah,
Now, what if we get Chris Rock and Will Smith, and we do a series where it's Will Smith trying to like get Chris Rock in different scenarios?
I mean, I'd watch it. I would absolutely watch it.
I think it'd be fucking brilliant. Just like,
I think you'd struggle getting either one of them to sign up to it.
oh no, none of them need to say. We just need their likeness. You know, we just need their likeness.
Oh, okay.
We don't need to. They don't need to speak. Just like little.
You should have.
Just cartoon noises. You know, tell them to do anything.
You should have come up with this idea 6 months ago before they were protected against Stay High.
Damn.
They could have turned it around in a week. But no, I hope it does come out, and I agree with you. I hope it goes to cinemas, because I do really want to see it.
Yeah,
I mean, the rest of the cast is great as well. But you know, Warner Brothers, what are you doing?
I want to see Batgirl as well. Why can't they do the same with Batgirl? Why can't they give that to someone else?
I'm not sure.
Because I want to see that
I'm
as
not
well.
sure.
Like Brandon Fraser, it was his fucking return. That was his return movie. That was what he
Michael
did.
Keaton was in it as well.
I'd love to see Brandon Fraser as Firefly, and I will never forgive them for taking that away from me.
No, but Warner Brothers, just release a movie. Just bite the bullet. We'll move on. Elsewhere in the news this week, Taika Waititi has made headlines, speaking about his planned Star Wars movie. So this news originally broke a couple of years ago that Taika Waititi had signed on and was in the process of writing a script for a Star Wars movie. We haven't really heard anything about it since then, until this week. So he's confirmed that it is still going ahead, and then commented further, saying that, this is a direct quote, "It will be a Taika Waititi film. It's gonna piss people off." Now,
don't know if that's
given the recent history of Star Wars, it is likely that it will be massive.
I don't think one's come out that hasn't pissed people off, so yeah, I agree.
No, I don't think Star Wars fans as a whole have ever agreed on anything, ever. So yeah, pretty accurate. Still no updates on title or plot or cast or anything like that. This is all he's had to say. But yeah, probably is going to piss people off.
Do you know what I'm thinking? I don't know why I'm getting this feeling, but I'm getting a bad feeling about this. And wink, yeah. I paused so the audience could laugh, and yeah, I keep thinking it's going to be like a holiday special type of movie, like the Ewok special or something like that.
Yeah.
Because Taika Waititi comedy, you know, like I don't really want him to do a serious thing, but I don't know what. I mean, he could do a really good serious Star Wars movie. It might be absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's put it's going to piss people off, I don't think he's just talking about Star Wars fans in general, because it's just given that it is a given that, you know, we're all going to cry about it. And until 20 years later, we're going to be like, the sacred texts! And we think
it's brilliant.
Yeah, we're going to think it's the...
I never hated it.
And like, I mean, I'm already in that now, starting with like The Last Jedi. I like it now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just getting like a feeling that it's going to be something like that, where it's just going to be not properly mainline Star Wars, but still set in the universe. And
I mean, I have a feeling that it's probably going to be an all new cast. I don't think he's going to touch legacy characters. That's just a hunch. There's no confirmation on that.
Yeah.
So then I think hopefully that'll mitigate the pissing people off a little bit.
I think
if they're all new characters.
I think I'm gonna have to backtrack a little bit on what I said about the serious Star Wars stuff, because didn't he die? Did he not write and direct some of The Mandalorian?
Yeah, he's done a few episodes of Mandalorian.
Yeah, it could easily be a really good thing. But
I think there's probably a little bit of ego in this comment as well. A little bit of like, yeah, everyone hates me sort of thing.
Oh yeah, well,
which
maybe make a better.
I don't hate you.
No, I don't hate you, but your last Thor movie was a bit shit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Thor: Love and Thunder was ass, but you seem like a nice guy.
I mean, I enjoyed it.
I'll let you off.
I enjoyed the idea of that movie, but like it's just it was again just a movie, wasn't it? It wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
No,
but I have faith. I mean, I'm gonna see it regardless.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're stuck in that bit, aren't we?
We are. Anyway, Samo, I think that is it for the news this week.
That was a good pile of hot, steamy news.
Absolutely.
So that leads us to just one thing: trailers. So we're gonna
trailers.
We've had quite a few trailers this week.
Been a
Some
big week.
better than others. Some trailers just didn't really show anything.
No.
But we're gonna delve into what I think is probably the biggest one. Maybe I don't know actually. The biggest one might also be the last one. But Madam Web. I'd say in our sort of arena, this is definitely the biggest one that was released this week. I'd say.
Yeah, definitely the most controversial.
Yeah. So basically, in the trailer, we get introduced to Dakota Johnson's character as Madam Web, and she's a paramedic, and somehow she's seeing the future, and she starts trying. She's a bit clairvoyant, which obviously Madam Web in the comics is a clairvoyant. She just see things that happen before they happen, and essentially what's apparently going to happen in this movie is so they've said as part of the synopsis. Meanwhile, in another universe. So when they say meanwhile in another universe, is this another Sony universe? Is this a parallel Sony universe to the one that they've currently got running, or
is this the Morbiverse?
Yeah, or are they saying another universe because obviously they have done some work with the MCU, and it's separate to that. But then again, I guess they already have several universes in Sony now anyway because of the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
So I guess they've got different ones anyway. But yeah, so it's a standalone origin movie. I don't. When they say standalone, I mean it's got several Spider Women in it. So is it? Is it stand? I don't know. But yeah,
and it's also like if this movie does well, are you telling me they won't link it to the rest of the others? Like,
I just know what's going to happen at the end of the movie. Everything's going to go wrong, and then she's just going to look at the screen and go, I reckon it had something to do with Spider-Man. And then that's going to be what it is. But yeah, basically she's a paramedic in Manhattan. She gets clairvoyant abilities, and then she starts seeing things, and she has to confront her past. And she meets some very powerful women on her journey. So yeah, the cast for this, we've got Dakota Johnson playing Madam Web, Adam Scott as Ben Parker, Emma Roberts as Mary Parker. So are we going to see a young Peter Parker in this? Because this is set in the early 2000s, isn't it? So
I don't reckon we're going to see Peter Parker. I think maybe they're going to have to save them to make sure that Spider-Man exists in the future.
Yeah.
A bit like a Terminator.
I'm going to say I was
a reverse Terminator.
I was going to jump into the sort of theories that I've seen on the internet about that. But yeah, so we've got Sydney Sweeney playing Julia Carpenter. We've got that's one of the Spider Women. Then
that's the reason I'll be there.
And then we've got Isabel Mercedes, who's playing Anya Corzona, who is Spider-Girl. And then we've got Tahar Rahim, who's playing Ezekiel Sims, who's kind of like a Spider-Man, but not.
Yeah.
And
different from the comics.
Yeah, and the first time we see him in this trailer, he stabs someone. So he's not your everyday Spider-Man. His costume, I think, looks just like it was made for a TV show. It doesn't look great. But
fair, the whole trailer
cool,
looks
though.
like a TV show.
Yeah, it looks like a CW, doesn't it? It looks like
yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't.
That's the best assessment of this you could have given, is that it does. It looks like a CW TV show.
I mean, it could be really good. It doesn't look great. I'm excited to see some Spider Women on screen on live action for the first time. That is going to be good. Obviously Spider-Man, as Stan Lee said, can be anyone. That's the whole point of the mask. So I really like that. And it looks kind of good. But when we're talking about Peter Parker, there is a scene in the trailer where it's like someone's birthday party. It's a kid's birthday party, and I don't know if you've noticed, but it's a boy. I'm assuming it's a boy, and I apologise. I'm assuming a gender because blue colours, and I'm sorry, but we see both of his parents in that scene. So it doesn't take a betting man to kind of piece that bit together. That we might not see Peter Parker there, but I'm assuming that's Peter Parker's birthday. Now,
Maybe.
my only thing with this is, obviously we've got Adam Scott playing Ben Parker, so I'm assuming it's a different universe. But yeah, I kind of wanted. I was hoping so bad it was going to be the Andrew Garfield universe. I was hoping so bad it was going to be the Andrew Garfield universe. It could still be, but I don't think it is.
No.
But
I think that for Adam Scott to get from how he looks to Uncle Ben in the first one, you know, in the space of like, what, 10 years?
You never know. He might go to Tatooine for a little bit and just age terribly.
Yeah.
But it could be good. I really like Adam Scott. Dakota Johnson, brilliant actress. It's getting directed by S.J. Clarkson, who did... Right, the track record for this isn't... It's good on some stuff and bad on others. So 2 episodes of Jessica Jones. I really, really enjoyed Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones is good.
One of my favourite MCU villains is in Jessica Jones.
Yeah,
David Tennant absolutely killed it because, you know, we've established already in this podcast he's just a go at everything he does. And
he's good.
He's just the best at everything he does, including Doctor Who. And then we've got...
Second.
Then we've got...
Second best.
And then we've got 2 episodes from The Defenders. Now, I don't know if you remember much from The Defenders.
Dog
pretty shit. Pretty shit. I mean, I remember enjoying it as a kid, and then I tried to rewatch some of it later on as an adult, and I was like, I get why I enjoyed CW at the time. Like, it's what I was getting.
But not anymore.
But yeah, I've seen some theories about this, where Ezekiel Sims is like, apparently they're saying he's trying to stop some like Spider-Man vampire type characters or something, and like he's trying to. Apparently, they're going to come forward when Spider-Man's there, and he's trying to stop Spider-Man from growing up and turning into Spider-Man to stop these beings from coming in and destroying everything. So he's kind of like an anti-hero, I guess, where he thinks he's doing good and he thinks he's saving the universe, but in fact, obviously, he's stopping Spider-Man from existing. So then there's a theory that... These are all just theories that I've seen on the internet. These aren't established plot points or anything like that. And then there's a theory then that Madam Web is then going to be trying to stop Ezekiel Sims, which then gives us the new Sony Universe Spider-Man.
Do you know...
But I've also seen another theory on that as well.
That I hate. One thing I absolutely hate. And it's Sony planning their plot points based on the chuffy TikTok algorithm. Do you know what I mean? It's like Spider-Verse came out, Miguel O'Hara like trended all over TikTok for months, and they've been like, okay, people like spider vampires, because they like Miguel O'Hara clearly, so let's do this. And it's just like, it's so on the nose and it's so obvious. And it's like the Morbius thing that we spoke about last week, where they re-released it
because of the memes. And
it's like, you must realise that no one is taking you seriously, like, at all.
Do you think we're going to get like a Spider-Man movie coming up, or a new Madam Web movie, where it's very similar to what she kind of does in a lot of the comics, and she does especially in the 90s TV show, where she brings Spider-Man from different universes to tackle a problem?
No, and I hope not as well, because then again, it's just you're just rehashing Spider-Verse.
Yeah, I guess it is.
You've just spent 2.5 hours of Across the Spider-Verse telling everyone why that's a bad thing, to then try and go, oh no, it's a good thing actually. Watch this movie about it. And also, Sony, none of these movies are good. I don't know why you're still pumping money into them. There's not one good one.
No.
Just call it. Just call it a day. Let it go.
Like, Madam Web just seems like such a weird one to go for, when they could have just done Spider-Woman or Spider-Girl. They could have just done them. Like, and they could have done it very well. And then, but it just feels like such a weird one to go, let's do Madam Web. Like, if you speak to most people, they don't have a fucking clue who Madam Web is.
No.
Like, but if you say Spider-Girl, they just go, oh, it's just female Spider-Man. Okay, I get that.
I'm going to make a prediction here. And this is going to be like the Birds of Prey movie with Harley Quinn that came out a couple of years ago. Exactly. No one's going to see it. No one's going to remember it. You know, you don't see like, with all the stuff at DC and it's all changing, who's remaining, who's not. no one's going, oh, Birds of Prey characters, are they still canon? Because no one cares.
Well, the only thing about that movie that kind of
this
makes
is
me
gonna
watch
be the
it
same.
is Ewan McGregor. That's the only thing that makes me want to watch the Birds of Prey movie. That is it.
Yeah. And this is just going to be like a carbon copy of that, I think.
Right. So the next trailer, a bit more promising. I'm not as hyped for this one as I was the first season, but I don't know if that's just because we've had it before and it's not something new, essentially. And obviously we've had just multiverse in everything, but I am still excited for it. I am gonna watch it, and it's nice that it's coming out next month. But that's the What If Season 2 trailer.
I'm really excited.
We've got a few rumours for what the episodes are going to be, and we obviously in the trailer it's very easy to kind of depict what episodes are what. We're going to get an 80s 90s Avengers, so that's going to be including Hank Pym, Winter Soldier, T'Chaka, and Thor. Maybe potentially Marvel. Well. That could be really cool. But one of the things that I didn't like about the original one was when it's just the same. It's just a premise we've already had redone. So I'm hoping that an 80s 90s Avengers isn't just going to be the Avengers movie in the 90s, but with different characters.
No, well, I think it's probably closer to 80s than 90s. Looking at it, but I mean, Peggy Carter's going to be there as well as the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Howard Stark's going to be there. I think it'll hopefully be a bit of a different premise, but I'm excited to see these characters interact with each other.
Yeah, it'd be really cool. The new voice actor for T'Chaka sounds quite good. Actually, I think it sounds alright. Obviously, not going for the exact trying to replicate his voice, but I think it works. Then there's one that I'm actually really looking forward to. It's probably the one that I'm looking forward to most out of this, and that is it looks like we're getting a bit of Mario Kart in the MCU. So it looks like it's going to be set on Sakaar. We do see some little clips of it going through, and did we get what's his name again? The Grandmaster.
I think this is going to be like another one of the Grandmaster's games.
Yeah.
Instead of getting in a big dome and fighting each other, getting cars and fight each other.
I
is what I think.
We get a little bit when he looks up and sees a statue of himself, like, who's that handsome fella? And then waits.
Yeah.
Is it played by?
Yeah, it's Jeff.
It is Jeff Goldblum, isn't it? Yeah, I'm gonna say for some reason, my mind went blank, and I was like, what's he played by again? Jeff Goldblum. Like, I really like Jeff Goldblum. He's just an oddball, isn't he? I just think he's really cool. So I'm excited to see that. We're gonna get a bit Tony Stark and Gamora together. Now, Tony Stark and Gamora in the comics were a little bit of a thing. So I wonder if we'll get any hints at that in this, or if they're gonna leave that completely alone.
So I think this is based on a scrapped episode from season 1, which was going to be Tony Stark ends up on Sakaar instead of the Hulk.
Okay.
So he's there in the Hulkbuster armor, and Gamora's there, and you see that briefly in one of the other episodes where the Watcher's going around collecting the multiverse Avengers.
Yeah.
He goes to Sakaar to get Gamora, and Tony Stark's there. So I think this is a bit of a rehash from an episode that wasn't released.
I'm fine with that. If you've done the episode, why not? Like, why not?
Yeah, makes sense.
Then it looks like we're going to get another Avengers one, but set in the 1600s. A bit of an old-timey wimey Avengers.
This looks like modern characters, just in a different time set. So not like the 80s, 90s one where it's existing characters as they are then. So you're going to have like 1600s Captain America, and it's got a little sword.
I like that.
The 1600s Scarlet Witch, and she's got like a 1600s like gown on, and I think that's maybe the one I'm most excited for, actually.
Do you think they got that idea from that trend on TikTok and Facebook and stuff like that, where it was like, for ages they were just taking classical characters and they're like, but what about if they were a knight? And it's just like, So I wonder if that's like where someone just saw that and went, maybe that'd be a fucking great idea.
I suppose you have just described the premise of the show there.
Yeah, what if? Yeah, what if?
That is what the show is.
I want to see Captain America just taking on. I want it. Just have it a little bit. I want Captain America. Just for one, I don't know how he's Captain America at this point because 1600s. But like, I'd really like to see him like just somehow just pop up against, the Napoleonic Wars or something like that. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's like you could have like a Red Skull, but it's Napoleon. Oh, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. I'd really like that.
I mean, yeah, I suppose so. Still small?
Yeah, it's still small. Yeah, still really small. Yeah,
5'2" Red Skull running around.
But I wanted to still look like Joaquin Phoenix.
Okay.
Or Tom Cruise could play him.
Yeah, he's a small man.
I do that little tap. I don't know if you can hear it on the mic. That was
but
his
not
feet.
Animated, right?
Yeah, it's just live action Tom Cruise, but in the What If
in the
content,
animated show.
I would love to be one of the
that.
creators on the What If, because I feel like it's such an easier way of creating the idea for the premises. Because you just sit there and you go, well, what can we do? This is like, exactly. It's like, what do you mean? It's like, what if? It's like, what if Captain America was a squirrel? Bang, done, episode, let's do it. It's just like, boom. It's so easy. We could do it.
It's like one of my biggest like TV show dreams is a Star Wars one.
Yeah, right. Why not? Because we saw Mustafar in the last one, and we saw an X-wing in the collector's collection. So like, why not? Yeah. Why not do one of those? Like,
it'd be so good.
Then we're going to be getting Happy Hogan Saves Christmas, a little bit of a Die Hard style. That'd be cool. I really like that. This
is my second favourite.
And obviously this is coming out at Christmas, really, isn't it? So are all episodes coming out at the same time, or is it going to be...
No, I think it's weekly, so based on the trailer.
So could we bet that this will be the first one that comes out then? Because it's releasing just before Christmas, isn't it? So yeah, I can see that. Then we've got Hella gets the 10 rings. So she's going to be cooking a hell of a storm up with them rings.
Hey, I get it, Simo. I got that one.
These are all off the fly, by the way. These are off the cuff. This is comedic genius in its prime.
We can tell that these are off the fly. Don't worry.
Yeah, there's a reason I'm not a comedian and we're doing a podcast. Right, then we've got another trailer that's come out this week. Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Now, I've just realised, Ryan, that I've not actually watched this trailer. It's the one that I haven't watched.
Well, so do you want me to take this one?
You know what? I'm going to pass this one over to you. I feel like you've got more of an understanding of it.
This one. Yeah. Well, my understanding of this franchise is very limited.
I've seen one movie. That was it.
I've seen 2 movies, so I have double the knowledge of you.
And this is why you're taking the helm on this one.
I'll navigate us through these stormy seas.
Which I think that's a reference, isn't it? That works.
Well, I mean, given Percy Jackson's father. Anyway, in this trailer, so we see a young Percy Jackson. Now, if you're not familiar with the franchise, Percy Jackson is the son of a demigod, and the books follow his adventures as he finds out sort of that he is special and that he has abilities and powers, and then maybe he's going to face some issues along the way. Now, I mean, the cast in this looks great. I like the fact that they have gone with a younger actor compared to what the movies did. I mean, the first movie's pretty good.
I didn't rate it.
But
I didn't rate it.
It's like Harry Potter, where you wouldn't cast, an 18-year-old to play 11-year-old Harry Potter. Yeah. So I like that they have gone a bit younger. Percy Jackson is going to be played by Walker Scobell, who is... he played young Ryan Reynolds in that movie where...
Oh, yeah.
Old Ryan Reynolds and young Ryan Reynolds do a thing. I mean, I think it looks good. They're planning to do 5 seasons of this.
Yeah, okay.
So, like, each season is going to be one of the books. 8 episodes in total, an hour episode. And yeah, I think it looks good. Coming out pretty soon as well. End of December.
Ooh, okay.
Of this year.
I'm not gonna lie, I probably won't watch it. Unless we need to talk about it on the podcast. If it ends up like breaking headlines or anything like that, I'll probably watch it so we can talk about it. But I watched the first movie. Obviously, it's gonna be different because it's a TV show, and obviously I think TV shows adapting books, I think usually do better than a movie adapting a book, just because you can expand on things and you can put all the boring stuff that's in the book inside the TV show, so it works. But I might actually be speaking about something like that a bit later on. So,
Okay.
listen in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for this. I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really popular franchise. It's one of the most popular, young. I'm not gonna say young adult, maybe like child to teenage aged, like book series, like of the new ones that have come out of the last 10, 15 years. So I'm excited to see it.
Yeah.
I think it would be good.
Well, and that's coming out soon. And if it's not good, I'm just gonna blame you for it. If I'm being honest.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I'll carry this burden.
Then we've got a new trailer that wasn't really a trailer. It was more of an announcement, but done as a trailer, and that is for the Ted TV series. Now, I don't know if you've seen any of the behind the scenes not behind the scenes photos, just set photos or photos for the show. But
yeah,
it seems actually quite a good premise, and I loved the Ted movies. I thought they were both really funny.
Yeah, it's so good.
So I'm actually excited for this. Obviously, in the trailer, it's literally just Ted reading a letter that young Ted wrote for future Ted, and it's just him going, "Yeah, that's wrong. Yeah, that's wrong." It's just Seth MacFarlane jokes. Yeah. It's just Seth MacFarlane jokes.
Yeah.
And yeah, so basically the plan for this is a prequel to the movies, and it's going to be following Ted and John in their teenage years. So John is...
So no Mark Wahlberg.
No Mark Wahlberg.
Damn it.
No Marky Mark in this. Although, how good would it be for him to be playing a 16-year-old? That would have been brilliant.
Yeah, I think do it.
Yeah, put like little spots on him, like, give him freckles.
Yeah.
That'd be brilliant.
It's like, you can wear your branded clothes like you do on Instagram in the series. It's fine.
Thing is though, he might not have time for it because he's gonna be up doing the gym at like 5 o'clock in the morning. Then he's got church at like 5:30 in the morning, and then he's got another thing at like 5:45 in the morning. He's a busy guy.
He is.
But yeah,
the secret to success apparently.
So it's gonna be. Oh, I did put the amount of episodes it had in this, but for some reason I've deleted those. But yeah, I believe it's about 9 episodes long. If that's wrong, shoot me. So it's going to be following him from when John's 16. It's following on from where Ted has already been famous. So Ted's had his fame. This is now him as a down and out celebrity, I guess. And in some of the photos that you've seen of it, it's got John and Ted, with a bong and stuff like that. So I'm assuming. And what it looks like, this is going to be where Ted starts to be a bit of a bad influence on John, and we're going to see them get up to some mischief.
Maybe leading him astray.
Yeah, but Ted's always there for John, and it looks like he might be helping him go through some tough times. Which is a lot to get from the trailer. Thunder Buddies for life. You are completely correct, and I hope they don't overdo that in the show. I hope it's just a one and done joke.
I'm sure we'll get it.
Yeah, we will definitely get it. Reminds me of a little product placement then for Pepsi Max, the way you brought it through it looked just like a little like one of those adverts, like it was perfectly framed to the camera. But yeah, so the cast. So we've got Alana Ubach, who's going to be playing Susan Bennett, so the mum. Scott Grimes is going to be playing Matt Bennett, the father. Seth MacFarlane is obviously going to be playing Theodore Clubberlang, also known as Ted.
But he will not be Ted Clubberlang yet.
No, but that's
in Ted 2.
Isn't
when he has to?
Oh, he has to get the name, doesn't he?
Name.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So yeah, he'd just be playing Theodore then.
Yeah. I really hope they call him Theodore in the show.
Then we've got the new John Bennett. He's played by Max Burkholder. Now, this looks pretty good. It's coming out in January the 11th next year. And it's on the most successful streaming platform, as Ted says. And then he goes, we got a TV series. That's going to be coming on Sky for us in the UK. Now, the next trailer. Now, this is for the up-and-coming and kind of anticipated Garfield movie. I mean, when I say anticipated, I mean, I feel like it's only anticipated in our sort of, weird circle of the internet that we're on. But I don't think anyone else was kind of itching for this. But obviously, kids will love it. Families will love it. They'll like it. You're going to have to.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
They'll make you like... Garfield will make you like it. But yeah,
Chris Pratt will come round to your house.
and he'll make sure that you like it.
Yeah.
So Garfield is going on a wild adventure outside, which we all know is a place he does not like. Let's just hope it isn't also done on a Monday, hey?
Oh,
Why is he growling? He's a
Mondays.
cat. Yeah, and after an unexpected reunion with his long-lost father. Now, that is played by... Now, his long-lost father is called Vic the Cat, you know, very well named.
In case that wasn't clear.
His father is Vic, and he is indeed a cat. Now, this is expected May 24th next year. It's directed by Mark Dindal, who was the writer for Chicken Little. So,
Wow.
that was an incredible movie.
Yeah, that's a good CV,
Yeah.
to be fair.
He's done other stuff, but yeah, incredible movie. So yeah, this could go really well. Now the cast. So we've got a bit of a stacked cast. We've got Sam Jackson playing Vic the cat, Garfield's dad. Nicholas Hoult playing John, and Chris Pratt playing Garfield. Now everyone was going, I can't wait to hear what Chris Pratt's voice is going to be like for Garfield. It's just Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt.
It's just Chris Pratt.
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
Chris
Chris Pratt.
Pratt's
Yeah, what do you think? You know, in the trailer we see little Garfield eating food.
Yeah, just he gobbles up a lasagna in 2 seconds flat. Yeah, I mean, I think this will be good, but I think it'll be okay. I mean, I'm not really the demographic for this movie, but I think Chris Pratt is a good voice actor.
Yeah.
I mean, that or his agent is just phenomenal. But I mean, he did Mario justice, I think, in the Mario movie.
No, it was good.
I think he'll do Garfield justice. And yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with it.
I think as well that I'm pretty sure that John Cena might have a role in this. I don't know what he's doing, but I'm pretty sure John Cena's in it. And I have seen that Bill Murray is on the cast list. So
okay.
I don't know if that's accidentally put there because he played Garfield, and also that other English Garfield, or if it's going to be... Wait, did he play the English Garfield as well? I don't know. Garfield 2, everybody. Go and watch it. But yeah, then, it could be in it. Who cares? Right. But that's all we've got for trailers today.
Is that it for trailers?
That is it for trailers.
Well, should we move it on to the next segment, Simon?
I think we should move it on to the next segment.
Let's do that. Right after a quick word from the sponsor of this episode. Who Clothing is a fantastic new brand recently launched by two guys from Derbyshire in the UK who have a passion for sustainability, active living and looking damn good while you do it. Their goal is to craft fantastic products that give back to communities and individuals without being a burden to our planet. Their first product, the Trash Trooper cap, is fully hand-stitched and made completely from fully recycled and upcycled materials. Who have teamed up with sustainable partner Topiku to make sure that they are actually having a positive impact and have committed to driving sustainable environmental, social and economic growth in developing communities across the globe. Now, we don't just promote anything on this show, we only promote brands and products that we actually believe in, and I can say hands down that this Trash Trooper cap is genuinely one of the best made and comfiest products that I have used this year. I wear a lot of caps, and this is definitely now the best looking one in my collection. Who are really transparent about their business practices, and if you'd like to learn more about how they operate ethically and sustainably, please do check them out on Instagram at WhoOfficialClothing. That is at HUOfficialClothing, and on all other social media platforms at WhoOfficial. Their website is also live now at www.whoofficialclothing.com. That is www.HUofficialclothing.com. Head over there, grab yourself a Trash Trooper cap, and keep your eyes peeled for some exciting future drops. Check them out now and take the first step to making your wardrobe more sustainable for everyone. Thanks again to Who Clothing for sponsoring this episode. Now, Simo, should we move into the title segment of this week's episode?
We should move into the title segment. It's a pretty big movie.
Which is, of course, a review and discussion of The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, the latest iteration of the Hunger Games franchise.
Yes.
Now, we have time codes and we have chapters now. So we're going to do spoiler free first, have a little chat about the plot without giving too much away, give our ideas and what we thought of the movie. Then we'll dive into some spoilers. So if you don't want to know, if you haven't seen it yet and you want to go into this movie blind, make sure you skip past the spoiler part and then come back and listen to it once you've seen it. Now, Simo, what do you think the story was?
Right, so there's been a bit of a war, yeah, and the capital, they're not very happy about this. So what they've done is they've devised a very, very good plan. So what they're going to do is they're going to take 2 children from each district, which are kind of like the little countries or states or whatever you want to, a part of Panem. And what they're going to do is they're going to put them in a big room, and then they're going to go kill each other. And that was their plan. That is their plan to stop rebellion. How that has worked and how that continues to work until the original Hunger Games movies just baffles my brain. But that's the plan.
I feel like we should say that this is a prequel.
Yes, it's a prequel.
Before any of that.
Yeah, yes, this is
a prequel to the Hunger Games.
This is a prequel.
This is set during the 10th annual Hunger Games, so 10 years after the big war.
And people are hungry. People need to eat. So what they've done is they've kind of come up with this game. You compete in the game. Food can be given out to you, that sort of thing. But it's 10 years on since the war. People are starting to lose faith in this sort of barbaric practice. Because this sort of arena we see in this, it's not really a spoiler. We see it in the trailer. It's more of like a Colosseum style of events, and it is pure punishment on this. There's no showbiz to it. There's no extravaganza to it. This is kind of just bare bones Hunger Games, bare bones, just arena fighting. And there's people aren't really watching, and they need to come up with some new ideas to get the audiences back. And maybe our little friend Cornelius Snow can provide a little bit of
Coriolanus.
I'm just going to call him Snow. He might,
Good idea.
He might have some little ideas that might, create a little bit of spark in there. A little bit of pizzazz. He's hungry for a big prize. He wants a big prize to help his little family out with his big prize, and because he's kind of hungry himself, and basically, he wants to win the big prize, and that is essentially that's a very short synopsis of the movie. He wants to win big prize. There's more bits in there. Who do you think's going to win the Hunger Games, Ryan?
Well, I think we've had 2 very different interpretations of what the movie was. I think what you've done there is you've explained the Hunger Games.
Yes.
And that's about it. Nothing really about the plot of this movie. So, allow me to build on your great work. The movie follows a young Coriolanus Snow, who we see in the original Hunger Games movies. He's the hungriest one of them all.
He's the big hunger man.
Runs. Yeah, he's the one they go to when they're all hungry. So we see that he works for the capital.
Yes.
And he's basically in the running to win a big prize to become sort of a maker of the games. He needs it, his family needs it, and he's determined to come out on top. He makes these suggestions as to sort of how to improve the Hunger Games, and as such is made a mentor to a young woman from District 12 called Lucy Gray. So the movie follows those 2 together as he tries to support her and aid her in winning the Hunger Games. So Coriolanus, as we see, sort of the main character in this, played by Tom Blythe throughout.
Great acting.
I think he was pretty good in it, to be honest.
I actually really enjoyed this movie. I feel like this movie, it feels like several different movies in one movie, but there might be a reasoning behind that we'll get into a bit later on.
Get into that into spoilers.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought the premise of it was well made. I like the fact that it's going back to the early side of it. I do like that, and how I think it does a good job at showing how it went from the barbaric practice that it was. I mean, it's still barbaric, but you know what I mean, like just the pure punishment that it was to the extravaganza that it is that we see in the original Hunger Games. I think it bridges it quite well. I think I was a bit worried going into it. I think you always sort of get this with prequels where
I already know where he ends up.
Yeah.
I already know what happens to him, and then sort of like, how are you going to tell an interesting story when we already know his motivations later down the line? But I think it handled that pretty well.
Yeah,
to be honest,
I think his motivations in this are pretty good. It kind of feels there's bits of it that kind of felt a bit like the first Kingsman, where he's kind of out of place a little bit. He's not well off. He's not rich, like most people are in the capital.
Might be a spoiler.
I don't think, is that a spoiler? I mean, I don't think that's a spoiler, because it kind of goes into like why he's after the prize. You know, he's not got a lot of money, but this is it's something that he kind of keeps to himself. And then it kind of goes through how he deals with that. And I think it's done pretty well. Obviously, we're going to delve into those little points a lot more. What we spoke about here is basically kind of the start of the movie as well. It's not really, it's not the overarching story. The Hunger Games part of it, I think, was a bit short. For a Hunger Games movie, the thing that I like to see in my Hunger Games movies is the Hunger Games.
It's the fighting.
Now, we do see a Hunger Games happen. They do a Hunger Games, but it's...
and they're all hungry.
It's a bit of a short Hunger Games. And, but it works. It works in the movie, I think. I do think it works. But yeah.
Yeah. I think one thing I want to talk about is Rachel Zegler in this movie. So Rachel Zegler is playing Lucy Gray, who is the District 12 girl that is drafted into the Hunger Games, and she's great in this.
Yeah, brilliant.
She's doing some really good work. There's quite a lot of music involved. I think music is quite heavily featured in this movie, which I think to the most part it does well.
Yeah, I agree.
I think, but she does a lot of the music herself. I know, like, she was in West Side Story.
Yeah, she was.
I'm pretty sure
very,
she won the
very
Oscar
good
for that,
as well.
and
Actually,
she's great in that.
She's actually really good.
She's fantastic in that. I think most of the music is done really, really well, and she's a great actor in this. One issue I did have with this movie is some of the dialogue isn't great.
Okay.
There's one line in particular that I'll probably mention in spoilers, so I won't go into it now. But I think on the whole, the cast do a really good job with what they've got to work with. I mean, Viola Davis in particular is incredible in this. She really sells the whole daunting, twisted, like evil, barbaric scientist, and she does it really, really well.
So creepy, isn't she? Like the first scene, it just felt so powerful. It was just, I felt a bit like creeped out by her. Like it was weird. The costume designs are incredible on some of the people, by the way. I think hers are really cool. Although she always, the one thing that always got me, she has like these weird little cuffs, and I couldn't tell if there was like, she always wears gloves as well. So I was like trying to figure out, is something wrong with her hands or anything like that. But yeah, she was brilliant. Peter Dinklage, I really liked in this. I thought his character, I don't know about his motivations though. I feel they were a bit confusing at times.
I think they're lacking a little bit of exposition, I think, on that. Just on the costumes, I think the costuming is really good in this, but I must say I do prefer, like, original Hunger Games, where everything's outlandish and bold. And I know this is obviously a prequel, and it's supposed to be, they still haven't got to that point yet. But I'd have liked maybe just a little bit more than what we got. Just a little bit more excess, I think, could have been cool to see.
The one thing that I do find a bit weird is that, like, I think the way that they set about the creating of the Hunger Games in this, it's done in like a weird school setting. It's like done by like that's like a college, isn't it? It's a college.
Yeah. Hunger Games college.
Yeah, and it's just seems a bit weird. I mean, the whole premise is weird anyway, but you know what I mean. Like, I think it would have been a bit more interesting if it wasn't a college. If it was like they have chosen to do this as like they want to be in that job. Like this is like just what they've always wanted. Because then it would kind of show into how twisted and evil it actually is. There is bits in this where it talks about the flip side of it, people that aren't happy with the Hunger Games, and I thought that was done. I thought it was done really well as well. I don't know how it would work with follow-up movies because I don't know the backstory of the Hunger Games massively other than the movies. I've read the first book and that and a little bit of the second one, but I can't really remember it.
Yeah. See, I didn't enjoy that aspect of this movie.
Okay.
In that, my main reason being why, and it might be more of a discussion for spoilers than now, but obviously, like you say about the moral opposition to the Hunger Games, it's a bit like, is the Hunger Games good? Well, no.
Yeah.
And the audience knows that it's not
That's
good.
the point.
So I think they tried to play it as this complex theme.
Yeah.
And it's not a complex theme at all, because the audience already holds that opinion. I think if they'd have positioned it more to like sort of convince the audience first that, yeah, this is great, the Hunger Games are great, this is why we do them, and then moved into that, it would have been a bit better. But that's just a slight critique, and just that I don't think that theme was really needed.
Yeah.
Because the audience is already on side with it, I suppose.
Yeah. The only complaint I have on this movie is that there's no young Jack Quaid in it, like the original Hunger Games.
No.
Like Harry.
Yeah.
I don't get to see him be an
Bring him
arsehole.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think I did enjoy it. I do have a few critiques, which again I think
we'll talk about them. Spoiler.
It's a conversation for spoilers. Yeah. But it was good. So shall we? Do you think we should rate it now?
I think we should write it. I think we should rate it and then move into spoilers. I think
getting some spoilers. I think we can have some juicy discussions here.
I'm hungry for the spoilers.
Okay. So if you don't know, if it's your first time listening to the show, the way that we rank movies or TV shows or anything that we rank on this show, we count down from 3 and then we answer the age-old question: to see or not to see.
That's
now,
the question.
Are you ready, Simo?
I am ready. Let's do this countdown. Let's do
Okay.
this.
3, 2, 1.
To see.
To see.
I think you should see it. I think if you like the Hunger Games, I think you will enjoy this. I enjoyed this a lot more than the third and fourth Hunger Games installment.
Yeah.
I don't think I enjoyed it more than Catching Fire.
No.
But I do think it's not the weakest one in the saga at all.
Definitely not.
It's not the best, but it's not the worst. And I do like the premise of it. And you were right that they kind of doing a prequel is always hard, and I think they did it quite well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, like I said, there was some things I didn't like about this movie, but on the whole, I had a good time.
Yeah.
Now, from this point onwards, this is your official spoiler warning.
Do the horn.
We're going to dive into some... There you go. Every week. So, if you do not want to hear any spoilers, make sure that you skip ahead to the next section. Look at the time codes down below and check out where we are, because we are definitely going to spoil some key elements of this movie right here. Now, one thing, Simo, that I want to talk about is that there is a scene in this movie which is a direct copy from Star Wars Attack of the Clones.
I think there's...
And that is the scene where they lay in a field and he secretly reveals that he's a fascist. And she just glances over it and continues to have a romantic connection with someone after he's just openly admitted to being a fascist.
I mean, right, on that, it's not just that they steal from Star Wars. I feel like his whole arc in this movie was just Anakin. He went at the start from being a very charismatic and loving person that was doing everything for the ones he loved, to then just slowly but surely becoming more evil than evil, until he then, harms the person he's supposed to love in this. Literally, it's just...
harms lots of people.
It's like a lot of people. There is some things in this movie that I don't like, and I just kind of want to. It kind of moves into this scene where just after she finishes and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go and pick up some Katnisses." It's just like, what? And he's like, "Oh, you've never heard?"
And he reacts to
and he's
it.
like, "You've never heard of them
He
before?"
reacts to the name.
And it's just like,
even though it's like, this is good 60 years or so before then.
And
And
he does, doesn't he? He looks over and he's just like, nah. It's like that's a name I've not heard in a long time.
yeah.
And it's, oh god, it killed me a little bit.
That felt very like shoehorned in.
Yeah, it did.
For no reason into this movie.
But another thing as well that is it, I don't know if it's shoehorned in or if it's explained in the original source material anyway. But there's a song that she sings about the hanging tree. Now this is a song that Katniss then sings, like literally to him, and like now watching this, it does feel more of like a fuck you when you watch those movies because it's sang by the one he loved, and then
so I think in universe she writes that song. Yeah. So Rachel Zegler's character in this is the writer of that song that Katniss Everdeen is copying, but I don't know if it's ever explained in universe whether anyone knows about this.
Yeah, or
if anyone knows that they had a thing.
Yeah.
Or if it's widely reported, I'm not sure. And it's left very vague at the end in terms of where Rachel Zegler's character is and what happened to her.
Is she dead? Is she not?
It's never confirmed.
Yeah,
whether she's dead or alive.
I really like the paranoia that's done in this movie. They showcase the Mockingjays and like how they've like control them and stuff like that, and like there's so many scenes in this where
that's the Jabberjays.
The Jabberjays. And there's bits where you see they use quite well in the plot as well, but like as like a plot device. But there's points where there's something mysterious happening, and then you just hear like screams that aren't there or noises that aren't there, and it's the Jabberjays just like say and it's really cool. I really liked that aspect of it. I thought it was really ominous, and it went into the Viola Davis. It went into her like, you know, how she's like twisted and evil, and it like I think it just helped her be this horrible person that she is in the movie. I thought it was really good.
I think she was the standout for me in this movie. I think Viola Davis.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that. I'd agree with you.
She's always incredible anyway, but she does so well of just being this like just evilness and like this unlikableness.
Yeah, it's done
and
so
just
well.
really like unnerving and horrible, and she's great. Now I want to touch on the dialogue.
Yes.
That I mentioned previously. There's one line in particular, and we watched it together in the cinema, and when it was said, we literally both looked at each other and laughed. As in, like, what is this? And Peter Dinklage, so Peter Dinklage's character, Cass Highbottom, which he's called, it's hinted that he had a friendship with Coriolanus' father, Daddy Snow.
As we're going to call
him
now, Daddy Snow.
Yeah.
Daddy Snow. No, I'm going to stop that.
And Peter Dinklage literally just says, yes, we were best friends once, and then just brushes over it completely. And it's like, there's no explanation or exposition before or after that as to like why that's important or why that's a story aspect. It was awful.
Yeah.
It was so jarring. Speaking of things that were jarring, some of the music scenes kind of made me hate Rachel Zegler's character a little bit.
I really enjoyed the music scenes, to be fair. I really enjoyed them, but that's just because I love me some country. And, like...
Yeah.
like,
there's some banging songs.
Yeah.
It's more... I was thinking of one thing throughout most of the music scenes. And have you seen that woman on TikTok that does, like, parodies of, like main characters in movies? So it might be, like, the one female lead in a movie that she thinks that everyone's obsessed with.
Yeah. That's
Or like, and it was given that energy a lot. There was a lot of that sort of.
I would have loved a scene
in some of the singing songs.
I would have loved a scene where it's just like everyone. It just cuts over people. It's like, oh, for fuck's sake, not again. It's just like she's singing again.
Yeah.
Oh my.
We'll be hinted at that. When she's taken in, like when they pull her out of District 12, she's attacked by the mayor's daughter. A bit of like a love triangle thing going on, and she's literally like, oh, she's singing again. And then by like the third singing scene in the movie, I was a bit like, God, she does not stop this one, does she?
She's like that bloke with the guitar at every single campfire, isn't she? It just carries on. But
And like, she's great. I just feel like they maybe could have worked him in a bit better.
Okay. I feel like...
And I just found some of them a little bit jarring.
The first one I thought was really good.
Yeah.
I liked
And the last one.
the hanging tree one. I love. I really liked that one.
Mm.
Although it did kind of feel a bit like solo-y, like, you know, in the movie where it's just like, oh, my name's Han. It's like, what's your people's name? And it goes, Solo. They've just how can we put in the song from the original movie into this so it means something to Snow? Here we go. We'll just get her to do it.
Yeah.
Same with the Katniss thing. It was just shoehorned. I feel like it was shoehorned in, but I'll give it a pass because I like the song.
Yeah. It did feel, I agreed, it was a bit like, how can we connect this to the others, I suppose.
Yeah. Now,
And
one thing that... Yeah, I thought the ones where it was her singing with like her band were really good, and I really liked the aspect of that part of the movie. I really liked the end part of the movie, though I don't know if you've ever seen The Pacific, but it kind of felt like that sort. It kind of felt like the episode in The Pacific where they're in Australia and he meets the woman. And he's just like every so often he goes off to do stuff with his girlfriend, and then he comes back, and then there's military stuff that happens, and then there's bits where they're in bars and fights happen, and the police come and round them up and take them away. It just it felt like at the start of the movie we had a Hunger Games movie, then the end of it like they just like they ripped off from several different things. Like they ripped off. Obviously they've done Hunger Games. Yeah, that's Hunger Games. Fair enough. They can do that. They can rip off themselves. Then it was Star Wars, and then it was Pacific, and then it went to its own little thing again.
yeah, I think, so editing-wise, this movie's split into 3 parts. So like 3 chapters, which I'm assuming is also how it's done in the book.
I reckon they do have chapters in the book, yeah.
Yeah, so you have the... Brilliant. I meant parts. So, like, the first part is, like, pre-Hunger Games. Yes. So it's Coriolanus sort of dealing with the internal politics at Hunger Games school, and then also suggesting the idea of mentors, meeting Lucy Gray, that sort of thing. Chapter 2 is the games itself, and then Chapter 3 is his sort of punishment and villain arc, if you will. So he basically gets found out for helping Lucy Gray win by cheating. And then his punishment is serving 20 years as a peacekeeper in District 12. Now, I think narratively, this wasn't... I didn't think it paid off to the fullest extent it could have by splitting it into parts. Because like you said earlier, the Hunger Games bit felt really, really short. And then there's other bits where it's just like 2 people sat on a train. That feel really, really long. And I don't think it necessarily worked. I respect it for trying to stay honest to the book and true to the book and how that story is told. I think that's really, really well done. But I think some elements and some parts could have definitely been fleshed out and made more interesting, and some parts should have been much condensed.
It kind of like it didn't know what movie it wanted to be and what it wanted to give off. So they just went, we'll just be everything. We'll be a war movie, a romance movie, and a Hunger Games movie, and we'll do it all in one.
It was like Oprah giving out genres. You get a genre. You get a genre.
I thought, I agree with you on that one. I feel like it didn't pay off entirely. I just want to touch on some of the set pieces and stuff like that they brought into this movie. Now, in the original Hunger Games, we see all the people that are going to go into the arena, all the tributes. They get housed in like these. Well, it goes off of whatever district you're in, isn't it? So if you're in District 12, you get the nicest house, and then it gets like worse and worse. Obviously, it's not worse because it's in the capital, but yeah, they kind of give you, if you live in the worst district, you get the nicest sort of thing to start with. Now in this movie, it's completely different. They pluck all of those people and they put them in a zoo, and then they're like, and then the announcer for it is just like, hey, come on down to the zoo and see our tributes, and like they're all literally in like a chimpanzee cage, and they're all in a cage, and then they.
This is what I meant about like the moral.
Like, people know it's not right.
Like, people understand that this isn't a good thing. Like we don't the audience don't need the hand holding through that.
But I do like.
Sorry, carry
on. On that though, I do like the fact that they start to show how they start to make the capital like it, how they're getting them to get behind it, because they. I mean, we've all seen like things like I'm a Celebrity, Celebrity Who Dares Wins, The Island. Like they're not great premises. Like they're putting people in harm's way, and there's animals that get hurt and these sort of things. But we watch it because we like the story of the people that are involved in it, and that is something that they come on this. They go, well, how about we sell the story of these people? People will get invested.
Yeah.
They'll watch it. More people will get money. It's literally about how they get better ratings. Which
so I think on that, and I made a note about this. So the big thing is, like you said, like ratings are down, people losing interest, people aren't watching it. And this is set in the time of the 10th Hunger Games. So they've done 9 more of these. And all these people, Coriolanus and all of his school friends at Hunger Games school, all want to be involved in designing the games. But the games just take place, like you mentioned earlier, in like a bricked-off Colosseum. It's like, you want people to watch, maybe build a decent arena. And what are the current game people doing?
Yeah.
Because there's no dangerous animals in there. There's no like they introduce that in this Hunger Games.
You see a creator.
It's like, well, why is the role of game creator, which they're all going for at school, so prized when currently all they do is just put them in a big concrete box, effectively.
One of the things,
like, no wonder people aren't watching.
You've just touched on it perfectly. We talk about dialogue, and like the introduction of like the first sort of finale that they have. Like you see, like they kind of put the animals in at the end of the last one games, didn't it? Where it was those weird dogs and stuff like that. And in this one, they bring in snakes. Now these snakes are a rainbowy colour, like a petrol colour, aren't they? It's like a weird hue along it. And
who's Hugh?
Don't. That's a little inside joke for me and Ryan there. And you fucking throw me off here. But yeah, there's
I did it. I got him.
There's a bit in it where she just goes, "Tonight will be the final event of the Hunger Games," and he's like, "A rainbow of death and destruction will fall upon you." And now if I was in there and they went, "A rainbow of death is going to hit you," I'm like, "Oh no, not a rainbow. Fucking hell, no, not a rainbow." And it's
it was a bit on the nose.
No, this is actually quite an important part of the plot of these snakes. But yeah, the way it was, like, if I was her, I would just go, "I'm gonna release a fucking ton of snakes. I'm gonna kill you all." Like, just tell them. Just go.
Right. I think I'd have gone with your fate slithers closer.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. I like that one. Oh, that's a.
Hey, I should run the Hunger Games.
Wow.
I can't afford to go to Hunger Games school though, so that's never
neither could Cornelius by the sounds of it, but he still made it work.
Yeah, true, very true.
But yeah, some of the dialogue actually was pretty shit. I liked it, and I like the fact that we kind of see how the new arenas kind of work, because it's just completely done by accident. And I like the bits you see the presenter. It's clearly normally just done in a day, and they just kill each other all there and then. And he's like, you can see bits where he's like, "Fucking hell, this is taking forever. This, Jesus." And he like phones for a restaurant, and he's like, "Can I maybe push back my book into 9 or something like that?" I really like that inclusion of it.
I must say, the presenter of this is played by Jason Schwartzman. Was another standout.
Really good.
He was really good. He does he carries the whole like comedic relief on his shoulders, and he does a brilliant job of it.
He's kind of sarcastic.
Is he better?
Well. I kind of like.
Is he better than Stanley Tucci in the original one?
But he does.
I think he's on par.
He does kind of like a proto version of his,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's like what came before, and then it's kind of what he kind of models his sort of persona after. But the thing I always like about the Hunger Games, I always try and picture if it was being presented by Ant and Dec.
Yeah. They will definitely do it if it was real now in the UK. It would definitely
they would do it. Yeah, it would.
Yeah, 100%.
But I enjoyed the movie. I did enjoy it. As much as it has some bad bits in it, I thought it was good.
Yeah, I think if you're a fan of the original Hunger Games, then I think you'll definitely enjoy this one. And it on the whole, it is good. I know we have sort of ripped it apart during spoilers a little bit, but I did enjoy it.
I did enjoy it.
It was good.
I liked the. I do like the Hunger Games. You can never go wrong. With putting a load of young actors in an arena and just watching them kill each other. It's always quite fun. There was a bit actually that got me, and I think it got a lot of people by surprise. It's you see one of the tributes is like kind of crucifixed on a bit of rubble. So essentially, the arena gets blown up by rebels, by the way, and then they kind of just decide to go ahead with the games anyway in the rubble, which is kind of how eventually the new arenas kind of come about because they have more free roam and they go and hide in places. But yeah, one of the people is caught up and is being crucifixed on top of a piece of concrete, and we see another tribute like kind of climbing up, and the music's kind of nice and somber, and it looks like she's going to like free him, let him down. And then it just turns completely south, and she just starts hitting him she starts stabbing him with an axe. And I was like, "Whoa!" Like it caught me off guard. I was like, I was kind of like, imagine if she did just like kill him there, and then all of a sudden she did just go. I was like, "Whoa!" I did not actually expect them to do that, and that I felt like that was I really liked that scene. To be fair, I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I do think, even though the Hunger Games are obviously like a shorter part of this story, I think it actually handles the emotional aspect of the tributes probably a bit better than the original ones, to be honest.
I could see that.
And I think obviously you spend more time with them as a group, and you're supposed to feel more sorry for these ones than in the original ones, I guess. But there's a couple of like really emotional moments like during the Hunger Games, which land really, really well and are really, really well executed, where you do sit there and think like, damn, these people were just dragged off the street and made to do this sort of thing. But yeah, I think on the whole, I think it was a pretty good movie. And like I said, if you do have sort of an affinity to the original ones, definitely go and see it. So I don't think you'll be disappointed.
There's only one thing I've got that I'm just like, how did Snow become this? How is he so clever, and how does he rise to the top when his plan? So these snakes, by the way, they get used to your scent. So he doesn't get bit in one of the scenes because he wrote the proposal for the new Hunger Games, and she kind of does this little trick where she, someone else tries to claim that it was her ideas. And she goes, "Okay, we'll go and get the proposal out of this snake tank." And she goes to get it, she gets bit. I'm assuming, does she die or did she just get hurt? I'm not. She does die, and then he kind of clicks onto that, and he's like, "Oh shit, she's going to release the rainbow of death and destruction into the arena tonight. I need to get a bit of Lucy Gray's scent into that snake pit so she can live." And what he does is he gets his dad's handkerchief with his initials on it and then puts it in the tank.
Yeah.
How stupid do you have to be? He's literally just put his fucking name in there and gone, they'll never get that. And obviously, of course they do. Of course they do, and that's why he gets punished and sent to District 12.
And of course, his father and Peter Dinklage were best friends.
And they were best friends once. So obviously he's going to know.
We already knew.
I like the fact that it did end with the mirror of the original Hunger Games, where it goes into the room and it's the poison. I like that. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was good.
But see it, I'd say.
Now, Simo, should we move it on to the next section of the show?
I think we should move it on to the next section.
The next section, of course, being Between Two Droids.
My favourite.
Now, how this element of the show works, we both come armed with a hot take. Maybe one that we've thought of personally, or maybe one we've been sent, or maybe one that we've just found and thought was worthy of discussion. Now, Simo, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. So, this kind of moves into some stuff we spoke about earlier. Now, my hot take is reboots of beloved movies are fine. Now, I'm going to go into some little constraints on this, some little barriers and little rules that I think we should stick to on this. But I think reboots are okay, as long as you bring something new to the story. You could do a modern interpretation of it. So yeah, obviously, if it's an old movie, why not make it a one that's in the modern world that modern audiences can actually relate to? I think that's fine. So yeah, you can bring a classic story to a new generation by doing this. People might actually go back and watch the original because of it, and if they don't, who cares? Like the story's still there. It's the same story. It's been done as well. It's been done for absolutely centuries. Like, how many times do people do a Shakespeare play? Like, I know they don't redo them, but they are doing them again and again and again and again.
I think how many like Godzillas?
Yeah, Godzillas. Yeah, there's absolutely loads of them.
James Bond.
Yeah,
famous for rebooting.
Yeah, Doctor Who. I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like
Absolutely.
soft reboots, I guess. But like they are reboots. And I think as long as you pay homage to the original and you don't just absolutely scupper it, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But then again, I don't think you should just do a remake and just make it exactly the same beat for beat.
Yeah, I'd back that.
I think they can be done. Now, on that, as much as this is a statement that I think I would probably cry if they made a new Star Wars, A New Hope. But, you don't have to like a reboot just because you like the original. The original's always going to be there for you. It's not changing that. It's not getting rid of it. You can always just enjoy that little bit. You don't have to enjoy a reboot. But that's my hot take.
Well, I agree with you on your hot take this week, Simmer.
Oh, you've agreed.
I think, like you say, it's been done for centuries. It's been done for a long, long time. And like you said, if it's something new or just a different interpretation, bring it on.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Now, my hot take this week. So, when the Pedro Pascal Fantastic Four news dropped, and you did mention it earlier, I was thinking there hasn't really been any casting rumours for a while about the thing. And I was thinking about who would make a good casting for the thing. Now, but it's a bit of an out there one, this one.
Very
because
much out there.
It is someone that isn't an actor, and as far as I'm aware, has never done any acting work. Now, I know you are familiar with this man, Sam.
I am.
However, for the audience that might not be, there is a fitness gym
Guru.
influencer in America who goes by the name of Sam Sulek. And I think that Sam Sulek would be the perfect casting for the thing. So, a few reasons why this is. The first one, he's basically built like the thing already. He is absolutely huge. He's whammo. You could literally just spray paint him orange and it would look like the thing already. Like, he's ridiculously big. Two, I think he's very good-natured as a person. Like, he's someone that his just natural personality and charisma is like very Ben Grimm-esque. I think the comedic aspect, I think he could do really well. He has a very good like natural comedic timing that we see, and like his like gym content and stuff. And he has an athletic background. He is a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
But he used to be he was like a semi-professional diver. I think he was in like the college schemes in America for diving. And he recently did it to show that he's still got his athletic ability, even though he's now massive. But I just think he'd be great.
You know what, Ryan? I would love to see that. Like, it's not unheard of for them to bring bodybuilders that have not done acting into the acting world. I mean, Lou Ferrigno played the Hulk, and then most famously Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, he came through and did was it Hercules? Hercules Comes to America or something like that. Was that his first one? And
something like that. Yeah.
The acting on that, if you watch it, it's shit. Like a lot of his early, this is going to be very controversial, but a lot of Arnold Schwarzenegger's acting is shit. And like, let's be honest.
Oh yeah,
he's there because he's massive. But yeah, I agree. Exactly. Sam Sulek, the way he talks, his timing, I agree. Mm-hmm. And he's in the zeitgeist. Like, he is in the zeitgeist. A lot of young people know him. A lot of people who go to I think if you're on TikTok and you go to the gym, you've seen a Sam Sulek video.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, Meat Canyon just took the piss out of him recently. Like people know him. I'd love that. I actually would. I would genuinely love that. That'd be incredible.
Kevin Feige, make it happen. I'm here waiting for my royalty check when Fantastic Four makes $1 billion.
There's only one problem with it though, Ryan. There's only one problem.
What's that?
I'd be sat there in the cinema, and I'd see Sam Sut come up, and I'd just hear his breathing, and I'd instantly have to run away. I'd have to run to the gym. I'd have to run to the gym, and I'd have to get a quick pump, you know.
And come back, yeah.
Like, whew, okay, yeah. I want him to halfway through just say, oh shit, I almost forgot my Dexter shake or whatever the fucking shit.
Yeah.
If a girl looks at him in the movie, I want him to just like run off and like start crying.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move it on.
Yes.
Simo, what have you been watching this week?
So I've been watching Invincible, very kind of cartoon heavy mine actually this week. I've been watching Invincible. I've caught up with that. Spoilers. Yeah. Actually, no, I won't say spoilers. I really enjoyed it.
No,
really
don't
good.
do that.
Get and watch it. It's incredible. I then caught up with Loki, and I watched the finale of Loki. Again, incredible. The music, I feel like it's a slight homage to another song, that end song that it ends with. But it was the soundtrack in that is incredible. And then
really good.
I due to the fact that I think we listened to it or watched a bit of it at yours last weekend, I've been watching a bit more The Big Les Show, which I don't know if you might, if you listen to this, you may know who it is, you may not know who it is, but it's a cartoon series that follows kind of like a god, an alien god, who lives on Earth. He's just chilling out in Australia with his pals. One of his pals is a magic Sasquatch, which I think is the universe. I don't know. But it's incredible. You should definitely watch it. It's done in Microsoft Paint. He does or Microsoft, as he says in the thing. He does all the voices. He does the sound, the music for it's incredible. It's just incredibly well made. So he did it on Paint, and watch it. It's incredible. What about you? What have you been watching?
So I've had a bit of a throwback week this week.
Okay.
So one thing I've been watching, it's an old Chris Lilly show
Okay.
called Jonah from Tonga.
Oh.
And it is hilarious. I watched it when it first came out, and it is just so funny. I can't describe what it's about,
no.
I don't think, without being offensive.
I was going to say, are we going to offend any of our
UK,
listeners?
It's on Amazon Prime.
Is it?
Please give it a watch.
Oh my god, it's incredible. Do we have any rangers listening to this? If we do, send us in a little message.
And the second thing I watched this week, so when the Pedro Pascal casting news came out, I was thinking about Fantastic Four, and I went back and I watched just the first one.
Oh, okay.
The first Fantastic Four movie from the early 2000s, and you know what? I had such a good time with it.
Dr. Doom
It's so
sick.
good.
Incredible costume.
Yeah, they don't do the whole they do cheesiness but in the wrong way. They don't do it like comic book cheesy anymore.
Yeah.
And that movie has the perfect balance of like comic book cheesiness. It's so good.
The second one
and
goes
then
too far.
The last thing I watched this week was there's a new series on Netflix. It's like a docu-series, which is called How to Be a Mob Boss.
Okay.
It's really interesting. It's basically just discussing mob bosses and how they got to the top and did all this sort of thing. It's narrated by Peter Dinklage, and it's really interesting. It's worth a watch, and it does like the Netflix like animated documentary style sort of thing.
Okay,
where it'll do, dramatic recreations.
I get you.
Yeah, it's really enjoyable. I'd recommend watching it.
Is it long?
No, it's not that long. There's, I think the episodes are only like half an hour long, and there's not too many of them.
Okay, that's not too bad. That could be a watch.
Absolutely.
Okay, so should we move on to the next section, which is some questions asked? Because we've got a question here.
Let's do it.
This is from I am Troy McClure. McClure? If I said it wrong. Ask the question of, do you prefer to watch a movie or read the book first? Now, he said that he prefers to watch a movie first because it helps him imagine the characters in the book.
Wow.
What do you think?
Ooh. I'm in two minds. I definitely prefer reading the book.
Okay.
Only because if it's a franchise or something where that was how it originated, that is the purest form and like interpretation of that story and of the characters.
I get you.
I can understand what Troy's saying around like visualizing the characters and stuff, but I think if a book is written well, that's the very easy thing to do.
Yeah.
If the book is written well and the characters are described well, then that's really easy as a reader to do. So I don't always think that. However, there are movies I've seen that I didn't even realise were books, and I've watched the movie, really enjoyed it, and then gone and bought and read an entire book series because of it. So that's not without its merits either.
Yeah.
But I think if I had to pick one, I would definitely read first.
Okay. So I'm more of a, I like visuals more. Like I'm very more, things that interest me are things I can see more than the reading side of it. That's just who I am. So I do prefer to watch movies over a book. If I had to choose between reading a book or watching a movie, I'd watch the movie. Probably just because I'm lazy. Like I'd much rather do that, and it's less time consuming.
And you can't read.
And I can't read. I like, you know, so unless it's like a big picture book, I'm pretty much screwed. But like this, I'm just gonna go to two examples here for both of them. Like I read Secret Invasion before I watched the series.
Yeah.
For one, it doesn't really matter because they're completely different stories. But I was definitely. I feel like if I watched that first and then read the book, I'd be way more impressed. Do it the other way around, I'm like, fucking hell, they've ruined this. So yeah, definitely the book.
Yeah.
And now there's another book, Into the Wild. Now that book, I think if you read that book and then watched the movie, it makes the movie 10 times better because it's still the same story. It's a real life event that happened, but then it just the deep cuts in the movie, like there's bits obviously that the movies can't explain, and the book does it a lot better. But then when you watch it, it just hits so much differently because you've just got more of an understanding of the situation that's going on. So yeah, it's a difficult one. I prefer to watch a movie, but I think you should probably. I think it is better to read the book first.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Summer, is that the show?
I think that is the show.
Do you want to tell the lovely audience where they can find us?
So, you could get in touch with us, send in whatever you want, a letter, review. Well, I'd probably not review, do that on the actual review platforms, but you can send in a letter, questions asked, a hot take through to our Gmail, which is twodroidspodcast@gmail.com. Now, that's the number 2 droidspodcast@gmail.com. We are the Two Droids Pod everywhere else. That's TikTok, Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it now. Reddit, we're the Two Droids Pod. But yeah, if you want to send us anything, send it through to those. You know, we might read it out on the pod, or we might not.
Yeah, if it's a good one.
Yeah.
Maybe we will.
If it's a shit one, we won't. Obviously.
No, absolutely not.
Unless it's that
Don't
shit
so
that it somehow becomes good.
Yeah, but if you want to find out, get in touch. Let us know. Yeah, thank you very much for listening. It's appreciated, as always. Hopefully we've given you some exciting news to think about this week. And, of course, thank you to Who Clothing for sponsoring this episode. Have a lovely week. Thanks to you, Simo.
Yeah, you have a lovely week too.
Thank you. And we will see you next time.
See you next week. Tell your friends as well.
Bye.
Bye.